Chapter 16. Men's and Women's Rights. Danish law protects the individual's inviolable rights. This means that men and women are equal before the law, as private persons and as citizens. For instance, this also means that both sexes have an equal right to education, to work, and to divorce. And men and women have the same political rights. For example, the right to freely choose who they will vote for in an election.
When I moved to Denmark, I was a serious feminist because I came from a society where women are very oppressed and they don't have many rights, neither at work nor in family relationships. After living in Denmark for a couple of years, I realized that my feminism was completely unnecessary and that I was wasting my time thinking about it. Equality exists everywhere. And in my mind, that means that I have the same rights as men. Here in the Folketing at Christiansborg, there are both male and female politicians. We're going to meet one of them now. I have a master's degree in politics from the University of Aarhus. I chose to become active in politics not only because I wanted to have an influence, but also because I wanted to contribute to forming the society I'm a part of. Women gained the right to vote for members of the Folketing in 1915. In 1924, the first female minister was appointed. Her name was Nina Bang. In those days, a female minister created quite a stir. Today, there are a number of female ministers in the government. In Denmark, we've achieved a great deal as far as equal rights are concerned, but we still need a female prime minister or a female foreign minister, and I hope this will become a reality in a few years.
The law regarding equality applies to everyone. Equality does not mean that men and women are the same. Equality just means that they have the same rights everywhere in society. There is also equality on the labor market. Here, men and women work together. Almost as many women as men have jobs outside of the home. Women have the right to work anywhere. We've had female mechanics and auto body workers at school. They work in hospitals, as drivers, and in all sorts of local shops, in supermarkets, and on civil service projects and jobs.
At the majority of workplaces, you'll find both women and men. So when you're working, it's important that you accept that men and women are equal. This is true as well in schools, at universities, basically everywhere in society.
Women work everywhere in professions traditionally reserved for men. Having a female superior or boss is also quite common. Labour market non-discrimination legislation forbids discriminating between men and women in the workplace. This also applies to pregnant women. Pregnant women have the same rights as everyone else. They cannot be fired because they are pregnant or because they are on maternity leave. Men and women have the right to execute all types of work, but they also have the right to equal pay for equal work. I don't think equality is lived out to the full extent that the word implies. We all know that most managing directors are men. There is financial equality in marriage. This means that men and women have the right to dispose of their own money and, for example, to have their own bank account. But when you are married, you are normally obliged to take care of each other financially. When you get married, you retain your individual rights as an independent person and member of the community. This means that men and women decide for themselves. For example, decide yourself whether you want to get together with a friend or with family. You decide yourself whether you want to be a member of an association or a political party, or whether you want to vote in an election. Your spouse is not allowed to prevent you from doing these things. Your spouse is also not allowed to forbid you from taking an education or a job, or to decide what clothes you should wear. And as a woman, you also decide whether you want children or not. If you have a child, both the mother and father are entitled to maternity/paternity leave. In other words, both the mother and father have the opportunity to take time off work to be with the child during its first year. It is actually quite common for both parents to take the responsibility for their children and their upbringing.
In Denmark, it is normal for everyone in the family to help with the practical chores because there's not much time when everyone is so busy every day.
Så, løber du ikke ind på værelset eller leger, Mads?
Jo.
Godt, Superman.
I'm the first one to get home after work. Typically, I pick up Mads from the kindergarten and I then begin making dinner.
Hej.
Hej.
Så.
After I get off work at around 4 o'clock, I pick up the children. Most days I need to do a little shopping at the local grocers. When we get home, we unpack the school bags and chat for a while. I get to hear about the children's day at school and at kindergarten. There's usually a funny incident I need to hear about. Then we get started with homework.
Mor, prøv lige at komme og hjælpe mig.
We prefer to get the homework over with before we have dinner because the kids go to sports activities afterwards.
Ja, den er også svær. Den kan du godt.
Our 3 children go to football together and their father does too.
Og det gør faren også.
We always try to eat dinner together as much as possible, all 5 of us, because it's the only time we're all together. Both the man and the woman must consent to marriage. It is prohibited for families to forbid a man and a woman from marrying each other. And as in so many other countries around the world, it is also illegal to force people into a marriage. It is also prohibited to marry more than one person. Consequently, you may only have one spouse at a time.
Beating your spouse and your children is forbidden and can result in imprisonment. If a woman is beaten by her husband or boyfriend, she can receive free counselling and free room and board at a shelter for abused women like the one behind me. Men are strictly forbidden at shelters. Shelters provide personnel trained in taking care of abused women, calm surroundings, and if necessary, assistance in planning a woman's next steps for the future.
Getting divorced is not uncommon. Both men and women can apply for divorce with or without the consent of their spouse.
If disagreements arise surrounding a divorce, for example, concerning finances or where the couple's children should live, then the authorities work in cooperation with the man and the woman to find a solution. After a divorce, joint custody of the children ordinarily continues. When the child's parents no longer live together, the child has the right to visit the parent he or she no longer lives with. The parents are jointly responsible for ensuring that the child spends time with both his or her mother and father.
Girls and boys, men and women are very different. But it is important to accept that they have equal rights everywhere in society, at the workplace, in school, and in the family.
When I started to get to know Danes better, I thought I'd come to paradise. Men are much more involved in daily household chores compared to Colombia, where the women do all the work at home. They take care of domestic tasks while the men go to work. Here, besides going to work, the men also make meals and clean and things like that. I thought this was quite fantastic. It was a very different experience for me. In the beginning, it was a little difficult to understand that things were done in this way. But I thought it was great. I thought being here was paradise for women, so that was a really good thing.